So today we will be studying something called side effect. We need to understand what is side effect. It's very important. What you need to understand before understanding the side effect, you need to understand that the memory in JavaScript is divided into two parts at least. So the first part, what we call the stack, and the second part, which is what you call the heap. Now, JavaScript engine accesses the stack here. Both of them part of the memory, but they are divided into two parts. It's just like I have a class, yes, but this or student, but we have two students or three students, so different part here. Now, what you need to understand is that JavaScript engine can access the stack. Now I need to stop recording. What you need to understand that in a lot of programming languages, not just in JavaScript, Agnieszka, stay with me, Agnieszka, that's important. So the memory here, what we are interested in JavaScript is divided to two parts. There is a part called the stack, and there is another part called the heap. Now, what's the difference between the two? Now, JavaScript engine, or your script here, can access the variable in the stack much faster comparing to the heap. Again, JavaScript engine, if the variable here is in the stack, it will access it faster comparing into the heap. Okay, what type of variable go to the stack? One type of variable go to the heap. Any ideas? Take a guess. What type of variable go to the stack and what type of variable go to the heap? Yes, Omar. Just a guess. Guess. I'm not asking you for the correct answer. Guess.
Let in the stack.
I'm sorry?
The let in the stack.
You need to speak up.
I mean the let.
Okay. Ramya, mute yourself, Ramya. Okay, any other idea? What type of variable saved in the stack and what type of variable is saved in the heap, and maybe why? It's simple. How many type of data we have in JavaScript? Two, primitive and reference. So the primitive data types, they are stored in the stack here. That's why the primitive data type, we can access it faster. JavaScript engine can access it faster. And the reference types are stored in the heap. So object arrays and function are stored in the heap and primitive data type stored in the stack. And of course, there is a reason for that. What is the reason? Because now we will see primitive data type are what we call pass by value, and complex or reference data type are stored by reference. And we will see what that means. That means here, the complex or the reference data type, that means object array and functions stored in the heap. Why? Because when we change any value inside the array, it will not recreate the whole array. No, it will keep the same array, but it will modify just one part or one entry of the array. Same for object, same for function. Is what I'm trying to explain is clear. I'm going to repeat it.
Can you repeat the heap, please?
I'm going to repeat it again. Now, the memory in JavaScript is divided into two parts. The first part is called the stack, and the second part called the heap. Now, what you need to understand, JavaScript engine can access the variable in stack faster comparing to the heap. So what type of variable it will be saved in the stack, and what type of variable saved in the heap? Well, any primitive data type, it will be saved in the stack, and that's the reason why JavaScript can access the primitive data type faster comparing to the complex data type or reference data type. Reference data type, which are object arrays and functions, they are stored in the heap. Now, yes, JavaScript engine can access the data in the heap a little bit slower, but the heap allow you to do something, which is when I modify, let's say I have an array 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and I want to add 6, it will not change my whole array. It will just keep the same array and add another entry for the same array. So that's the reason why we store the complex or the reference data type in the heap. So heap is suitable to store larger data, more complex data, like arrays, object, and function, and the stack for more primitive data type. And we will see also another reason now, which is what we call pass by value, because primitive data type pass by value. I will explain it now. And reference data type are passed by reference. And that's simply what we call side effect. So the side effect, it will affect only the reference data type, arrays, object, and maybe function here. Okay? but it will not affect the primitive data type. There is no side effect with primitive data type. Is the idea clear so far? Yes? Okay, I will repeat it again. So the memory in JavaScript is being divided into two parts. We have the stack, we have the heap. Now, JavaScript engine can access the variable in the stack faster comparing to the heap. When the data take smaller size, it will be stored in the stack, or most of the time it will be primitive data type, not complex or reference data type, only primitive data type. But in the heap is more suitable for more complex, more data which take more size. That means it will be arrays and object. Is the idea clear what I'm trying to explain? There is another reason which is called side effect, but I told you side effect does not exist with primitive data type, is only exist with complex or reference data types. That means object and arrays. Is the idea clear? Rachel? Good. Now let's see first, we've seen what is array. Can anyone remind me what is an array? Yes, but there is another important word. An array is an ordered list. It's an ordered list. That means the order does matter. For example, let's clear this array here. I will just say const nums, for example, or just let's change names, for example, names. It's equal to John, Bob, Mary, blah, 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 blah. So we have different names. As you know, in JavaScript, we declare or we create an array using square bracket. And here we can have different value. It doesn't have all of them to be the same. One of them can be a string. One other one can be a Boolean. Another one can be null or undefined. You can put it. You can put another object inside it. You can put another array inside it. It's totally up to you, depending on your need. We know what's array. We study some little bit method of the array, like for example, for each, map, every, sum, filter, and find, stuff like that. Now, what we not study here is an object. So what is an object? Can anyone tell me? What is an object? It's here, it's just the same, but it's an ordered list. It is an ordered list. So it is list, but it's an order. That means the order does not matter. An order list. Why you cannot type? Yeah, because it's an order like that. Oh, sorry. And so that's ordered. And here, let's just copy this one. It looks like I cannot type. Okay, clicky, voila. So the object here, we will take an example as well. So what is the object? It's simple. I can just say, for example, const person, it's equal to, and here we declare the object using curly brace, as you can see, and I can add name. There are key value pair, as you can see, name, age, blah, 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 blah. Now, what you need to understand now, why is this one is giving me? Okay. What you need to understand now here, if I put the age above or down, there will be no difference. That's why we call it an order list. But here, it will matter if I move my array to the first index and or move Mosh, for example, to the last index. So the order in arrays does matter. Why? Because we can access it using the index, but in object, the order does not matter. Is the idea clear? All the time we have key value, key value, key value. Okay, we understand this one. We understand what is an object. We understand what is an array. And you already know what is a primitive data type. So let's see first with a primitive data type. Primitive data types. So what are the primitive data type? Can anyone remind me? Numbers, strings, Boolean, null, undefined. We have symbol and we have big as well, but the one we have studied was R5. That's the most important one. So let's declare two variables. Okay, what we're going to do now, we will declare two variables. So for example, I can use let. For example, I can say num1, it's equal to 5. And here I can say let num2, it's equal to num1. So what I'm doing here, well, I'm declaring a variable num1, I'm giving it the value 5, then I'm declaring a new variable, which is num2, then I'm giving it the value of num1. Now the question here, if I change, so if I change the value of num1, does the value of num2 will change or not? And why? So again, I'll repeat the question. I have simple two number, as you can see, I've declared just num1, which is the variable. I give it value 5. Num2 is equal to num1. Now, if I change the value of num1, does the value of num2 will change or not? And why?
Yeah, because it's assigned.
It will change. Okay. What else?
Equal to 7. Line number 6 also will be changing.
Okay. Now,
On the line 7, but let's say now.
let's make it simple. Now, as I make num1 10, and the question here, if I log num1, it will give me 10, right? If I log num2, how much the value it will give me? Will it give me 5 or 10? 5. Okay, Amra. Thank you. Okay, again, I have two variable here, as you can see, 5 and yeah, num1 I give it 5 and num2 I give it the value of num1, and here I make num1 here 10. Now, if I console.log num1, of course, it will give me 10. But the question is, what will be the value of num2 now? Is it 5 or 10? Don't make it complex. 10? Okay. Rodica. 5. Why? In order. What else? Samuel? It will be 5. Okay, now let's try to log num2 and it give me 5. But the reason why. So let's go to our study instances, refresh, go to our testing, clicky, and I have my script here. And if I open my dev tool and I run, where is the console? My mistake. Sorry. If I run now, it give me 10 and 5. But the reason is why. Why the value of num2 did not change? It's not related to the order. Is there any connection between num1 and num2? The answer is simple. These are primitive data type. The primitive data type, if I assign a variable like and give it like num2, I give it another variable, it will only take its value, just a value. It's just num1 like that. It's just like I'm giving it 5. It's the same. There is no difference. Because the variable here, they are not related. There is no relation between num1 and num2. With primitive data type, if I assign one variable to another variable, it take on its value only. Yes, Adil. Sorry?
If, for example, I text that number 2 equals number 1 in the line 10, that will change.
Yes, of course it will change. But now I'm asking the question here. What I did here, I change the value of num1. As you can see, I say num2 is equal to num1. Now here, if I change num1, does num2 also will change or not? And my question here to see if there is a relation between num1 and num2. Are they connected? If I change one of them, does the second one will change? That's the question. Of course, if you change the value here, it will change. That's normal. So again, with primitive data type, if I assign one variable to another, it will only take its value. So this one, num1 like that, it's exactly like I'm saying it's equal to 5. That's it. No relation between the variable. So if I assign one variable to another, what it's going to do, it's only going to take its value. And that's what we call pass by value. So pass by value mean if I assign one variable to another, it will only take its value. But later on in my program, if I change it, there is no relation between them. Zero relation. Again, that's what we call pass by value. So let's try to debug here and see. Actually, let's open it in JS Tutor. It will be much better. So if we click on the option and we click on something called open in, and we click on here, it will open in GStutor. So GStutor is just like another small editor, but it's quite nice because it shows me all the steps here. So that's my code, as you can see. And here it will be just like the console here, that's the output. And here, if you remember here, the scope, it will be here. So all the variable I create in the memory, it will be here. So let's notice what will happen. It will allow me to go step by step. So if I click on next, now what it's going to do? Can anyone tell me if I execute line 5, what it's going to do? It's going to create a variable where? In the memory. But which part of the memory? The heap or the stack? Stack, of course, because it's primitive data type. All the primitive data type, they will be created on the stack. Click, and as you can see here, now it create a num1 and value it's 5. Now, of course, if I go to the other line here, notice it will create a second variable, and it will give it the value 5 as well. It will not give it the value num1. Why? Because primitive data type are passed by values. That means here, if I make two variables equal to another variable, it will only take its value. There's no relation between them. Only it will take the value. So click. And as you can see, num2 here is give it value 5. It does not give it the value of num1, huh? Okay. Now, if I change num1, notice what will happen. Can anyone tell me if I execute this line, what will happen for num1? Its value gonna change to 10, but the num2, its value stay as it is. Click, and as you can see, 10, and the value stay as it is, as you can see. So that's what we call pass by value. Primitive data type, they're passed by value. So if I say one variable is equal to another, it will take the value only. After that, if I change one of these variables, it will not affect the second variable. There is no relation between them. Is the idea clear? 100%? Perfect. Okay, now we will study another concept with reference data type, which is arrays and object, but it's called pass by reference, not pass by value. So let's take the second example. I'm gonna comment this one. And in here, I'm gonna say reference data type like object, arrays, and function. And now what I'm going to do here, I'm gonna say const, let's say ARR for array 1. It's bad naming, but anyway. Now here, if I say const array2 is equal to array1, and after that, if I change array1, for example, I say array1 dot push. So push means it will add this number at the end. That's what push is doing. It's also one of the array method. What it's going to do is just we're gonna put 6 at the end of this array. Now my question here, if I log array1 and array2, will 6 exist in array1 or array2 or both or one of them, and why? Both. Why? Because yes, because they pass by reference. Because they pass by reference. What do I mean by that? Well, I told you complex data type where they are stored in the memory, reference data in the heap, okay, not in the stack. But also I need to store something in the stack. Why? Because if I don't store something in the stack, I will not know which my data in the heap. I will not know anything. Let me show you in GStutor, and it will be very clear. Let's refresh this one. And well, let's go again line by line. It will be super clear. I hope. Num1 here, I think I commented if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, it should be commented actually. I think I did not refresh my code, so let's refresh it. And now it will look okay. Let's open it again in GStutor. Click it. So let's open in GStutor. Click it. And voila. Again, I have my console, and here I have my memory, or I have my scope. So let's click on it. Of course, it will go to my array. Notice what will happen. So what happened here? Can anyone explain what happened here? By the way, that is a heap, and that is a stack. So what happened here? It does create my array in the heap. That's correct. But also it creates something else in the heap. What is that? That's what we call the reference. So what's happening here, it just here for JavaScript engine to access this array, to know what this array is, it will store a reference, something here, something simple. It's like code number. And this code number mentions this array. So it's series of code, blah, blah, 543 FG, something like that. It's really small number. It's like string. And this here, it's indicate, it show me like that, this is my array. So what's stored in the stack, so when I create an array or an object, yes, it's created in the heap, but also I need some reference, I need some information to know which array is this one. Other than that, I will not know which array I am targeting. So I need to store some reference, some value on the stack to know from the stack. If JavaScript go to the stack and know is that, okay, the array exists here in the heap, in this place, or in this place, or in this place. Is the idea what I'm trying to explain is clear? Agnieszka, you are looking at me as I'm explaining a rocket. Sorry? It's completely new information. It's okay, yes, go ahead. Sorry? Sorry? Inheritance. Inheritance is object-oriented programming concept. Well, it's a bit different. Object-oriented programming, as I told you, it's a paradigm. That means it's style of programming. In general, in programming, we have many different styles of programming. For example, to make it really simple, if I ask you to write some information about, for example, the city you born in, for example. Of course, you will write something in your style. I'm going to write something in my style. It will not be the same, your information and mine, because we are different person. And the programmer normally, the kind of group of programmer, I think in 17, they agree or they try to quantify the programming in 16 different programming style. So we have 16 different programming style. The most popular of them actually is R3. That's what you call object-oriented programming. And second, we have procedural programming, what we are doing now, or everything is function. And we have something called functional programming. Functional programming here is more academic. For application, it is really difficult to build this functional program because I cannot share the data between two functions. And it's complex, so let's ignore it. When it comes to object-oriented programming, everything, it will be a class, like Java, like C#, like Python. Even JavaScript can be also object-oriented programming. But JavaScript and Python are very flexible. I can write them using procedural programming, like function, or object-oriented programming. Object-oriented programming, it has 5 concepts. The first concept was that what we call encapsulation. So encapsulation, I need to encapsulate, put all my data inside an object or inside a class. You will later know what the class is, but I can put all my data, as I told you, as the variable, the function, everything, I put them inside an object. That's what we call encapsulation. Inheritance, that means one class or one object inherits some data from another object. For example, if I say I have an object human, it's not really an object, it's a class, but then I need to explain the class, and now it's not the time. So let's say we have an object human, and then we have an object goldfin. Now goldfin is also human, right? So for example, each human has a name. Each human has two hands, 2 legs, something like that. And now goldfin, yes, it's human, but he has more information. You have your own name, you have your own age, you have your own information. So I can take some data from object human and inherit it and give it to the object goldfin. That's what you call inheritance. So it's concept in object-oriented programming. That's something different. We will explain it later when we study a little bit in advance. Don't worry. Again, let's go back. In the memory, as I told you, we have 2 parts. We have the stack and the heap. All primitive data types are stored in the stack. All reference data types are stored in the heap. The heap, normally, we store it for larger data because arrays and objects, they can store more data compared to primitive data type, right? But again, for the reference data type, yes, we are not storing it in the stack, but I need to store something to them. So I need to know, because JavaScript engine go to the stack, so it need to know which array to target or which object to target. So if it go to the heap and it does not know what it's looking for, it will not find it. So it needs some information. It needs like an address to know, okay, so address some numbers to know that that is the array I want to, or that's the object I want to. And that's what we call the reference here. So what is stored in the stack is just a reference to the array. Is the idea clear? Yes, no. As you can see, Agnieszka, we have just an arrow. We have point here. That's what we call the reference or pointer. So as you can see in the stack, we are just saving a reference to this array. That means if JavaScript engine go to the stack and look for this array from this pointer here or from this reference here, it will know that this is my array. Is the idea clear? Yes, no? Okay. Now let's notice what will happen when I create array 2. So can anyone now notice, can anyone explain what's going on here? Now I created my array 2. Can anyone tell me what's going on here? I have 2 pointers for the same. Exactly. So what's happening when I assign one reference data type like object or array to another, what's happening here in the stack, they store 2 different references, but both of them indicate or reference to the same array. That means if I change this one, this reference, it will change this one as well because both of them just indicate the same array. And now here, notice if I push array 1, 6 to array 1, of course, array 2, it will change as well. Why? Because both of them, these both pointer or reference, they indicate or the reference to the same array. So if I click like push, notice both of them, of course, it will change. Is the idea clear? And that's what we call side effect. Side effect, so when I change one of them, the other will change automatically. Why? Because simply both of them reference to the same array. They are in reality one array in the memory. When I assign a reference type like array or object to another, both of them in the stack, both of them, they will reference to the same array in the heap. So it's just the same. If I change one reference or the other reference, it will also change because both of them, they indicate or they point to the same array. Is the idea clear? Tiniando? Clear, Ahlam? Agnieszka? Okay, now let me uncomment some code just to show you a little bit maybe more clear. Let's just create this one as well. And here I can just open it again in GStutor. Okay, let's just quickly go to the end. Okay, let's click here. Click. And as you can see, so that is the stack. So my primitive data type, num1, num2, the primitive data types I created directly on the stack here. And for my reference data type, which is an array, it's created in the heap. But also I have like a reference. I like an arrow indicates them in the stack as well. So array 1, I have something pointer, which indicates that this is array 1 in the heap, and also array 2 is the same idea. So that's what we call pass by reference. Pass by reference means that if I assign one array to another array or one object to another object and I change one property, the other one, it will be changed automatically. Why? Because both of these variable or both of these names, both of them, they are named for the same array or the same object. Is the idea clear? That's very important concept. Yes?
Yes.
Good. And that's simply a very complex subject. A lot of people find it difficult, but using GStutor is super simple, as you can see. Question? You need to understand this 100%. Okay, clicky. I think it should be clear if I'm not mistaken. Now, after we explain this one, what should we explain again? Let's see, lesson plan. We explain array method, unit testing, it's okay, for loop is good. Side effect, now we will study it. Util function, I explained it, but I will give you another example. Can anyone tell me what is util function, please? I explained it yesterday. What is util or logical function? Logical function. What is logical function? Come on, guys, I explained yesterday.
Function that take data and return data.
Exactly. So it's a function that takes data as a parameter and return data. So it does not deal with the DOM. We didn't study the DOM yet, but it's nothing to do with HTML element or like that. No, it's only deal with data. That's what we call util or logical function. Again, logical function only deal with data. Then after that, we have something called component function, and it's only deal with the data and DOM. If the function dealing with the DOM, we don't call it util or logical function. We call it component function. Is the idea clear? I'll give you a simple example. So let's say const add, it's equal to, of course, it will take two numbers. So I will name it A, comma B. It's bad variable naming, but anyway. And now I will to return me A plus B. Well, that's a function. Why I'm not returning anything? Why I don't have any parentheses for the function? Why I'm not returning anything? Because this one is arrow function. Arrow function has some exception. If it's one line, I don't need the body of the function. And also, if it's one line, I don't need to use the return statement. But if I'm going to make the body of the function, so if I make it this way, here I need to return. I have no other option because now it's not one line, it's more than one line. Voila. So what this function is doing, it's taking data. I don't care if they are number or object or array or whatever. The most important thing for me is take data and return data, but it manipulates these data, add something, remove something, and then it return me data. That's what you call logical function or util function. Clear? Perfect. That should be clear as well. Now let's go to side effect here. Of course, we have some example. A reference versus value, I just explained it now. So primitive data types, they are passed by values. That means if I assign one variable to another variable and both of their primitive, it will only copy the value. After that, if I change the variables, they will not affect because both of them, there's no relation between them. It only takes value. But with reference type like arrays and object, if I assign one array to another, both of them in the stack, they indicate or they point to the same array. That means if I change one of them, the other will be changed automatically. And that's what we call pass by reference. Clear? Good. Let's see an example here. Shade reference. Primitive are stored by value. I'm just explaining this one as a primitive here. So I have primitive value, as you can see, 5. And then actually, maybe we can study it in GStutor. It will be much easier. GStutor for this type of stuff is really nice. So again, that's my memory is here, or my scope, if you want to call it here. And that's my log, my console.log here, that's the console, and that's my code. So if I click on here, what will happen if I execute line 8? Samuel? It will create a new variable in the memory and it will give it the value. Exactly. So click here. It's created in the heap or in the stack. Stack. Why? Indeed. Omra, what will happen if I execute line 9?
Create a new variable named primitive2 and give it the value of primitive1.
It's given the value of primitive 1, which is 5. Exactly. And it will be stored in the heap or the stack. Stop. Why? Because it's primitive data type. So click, it create primitive 2 and give me 5. And now, of course, if I change the primitive 2 here, so here I'm adding 1 to it. That's a shorthand here. So if I say plus equals, that means plus 1. So here primitive 2 was 5. Now, if I execute this line, Rachel, what will happen with the primitive 2 variable? The value, it will become 6. So if I click on it, voila, it becomes 6. And of course, the primitive 1 is not changed because both of them pass by value, not by reference. Of course, if I'm logging primitive 1 and primitive 2, primitive 1 is still be 5, primitive 2, it will be 6. What type of them? Both of them, it will be numbers. So click. As you can see, primitive 1 is number and its value is 5. Click. Primitive 2 also is number and its value is 6. But now if we go to an array, notice what will happen. So as you can see here in the array, Rodica, if I execute line 18, what will happen? New variable in the memory, it's called array1, and it will give it the value empty array. But it will create it in the heap or in the stack. I'm sorry? Yes, but true. In both, what it create in the stack, it's just a reference. So in reality, as I told you, array and object all the times are stored in the heap. But what it will be in the stack is just a reference, that's it. So if I click on it, notice what will happen, voila. So that's my reference here. And of course, it's indicate here now in the heap, it's create an empty array. Okay, now if I assign array, now if I execute line 19, Somia, what will happen? So it will create a new variable, let's say, array2. It will be here. It will be in the heap or in the stack. Are you sure?
Array, this array.
It will not create it. Do you know why? Because it's already there. So what will happen here, if I excuse this line, it will only create a pointer here in the stack, but in the heap, because the array already exists here. Because array 2 and array 1 are the same value, so it will not create a new empty array. No, it's the same array. It's the same empty array, as you can see. Yeah. Yeah, so it will not create anything in the heap because already the array exists, but what in the stack, what it will create, it will just create another reference for the same empty array. Is the idea clear? Okay, and now, of course, if I say array 1 index 1 by, of course, now it will just add this 1 by it to it, and now it will add it to array 1. But the question here is, I'm sorry, now I'm saying array 2 bracket 0, so array 2, the first index, I give it the value 7. And array 1, the first index, I'm giving the value by. But if I change now the first index of array 2, does array 1 will change or not? Are you sure?
Change.
Because they're array. So if I change array 1 and array 2, both of them, as you can see, point to the same array. So if I change one of them, the second will be changed automatically. Notice, click, and voila, because both of them, they indicate the same array. It's one array only. And here, of course, if I make array 1 bracket 1, which is the index 1 by, and it's also by, as you can see. And that's what we call pass by reference. I mean, look, both of them, what type of array? What is type of array? Object. And as you can see, array 1 object and the value 7 and by, and of course, array 2, it will be the same idea exactly. And here array, now I like, as you can see what I'm doing here, I'm making it null and I'm making it null. That's mean making it null, I'm kind of getting rid of the array value. And if I now go to it again, it will give me the type object and null and null. What, because null, what type of null? Object. So yeah, it will be object, as you can see. Is the idea of reference versus values clear? Good. We've seen the first example. Let's use the second example. Const with reference. Actually, that's quite important. That's interesting point, actually. Let's open with JS Tutor. Okay. Of course, if I click on this one, it will go to here. What it will do in line 11, Dinyando, if I execute line 11, what will happen?
Stack, constant array.
It will create a new array on the heap. And of course, it you have in my array just one item. And it, of course, we have a reference in the stack. So click, and as you can see. Okay, that's cool, not bad. Now I'm trying to say const array. Remember the array, I declare it using const, not let, huh? But now I can say const array, that means this is my array, bracket 0 is equal to 6, bracket 1 is equal to 7. I can push item, I can pop item, and it will give me no error. Click, click, click. So the question here now, I say, I declare my array with const. How can I modify the value inside the array? Why it doesn't give me an error? Because when we assign, if we declare something with the const, and we change the value, it give me like assigned to constant variable. Why is not changing here? Why it doesn't give me this error? Yes. So what's happening? Am I changing here the value const array? Am I changing this value? No, it's the same array still as it is, but what will happen with the item inside it will change. It's okay. It will not change the array. I'm not saying, for example, const array, it's equal to a new array. No, I'm not changing the value. It's the same array. I'm just changing the item inside it. And if I try to say const array is equal to new array, as you can see, it will give me an error. Why? Because here I am trying to reassign the array, and I'm not allowed because I'm using const. And click. And of course, it will give me an error. As you can see, because here I'm just, yeah, it just give me an error. And of course, if I'm using let, it will not give me no error because I'm allowed to reassign. Is the idea clear? So when I'm changing any item inside the array, I'm not changing the array. The value, so const, my array stays the same. I'm just changing some item inside it. It's fine. But I'm not allowed to take the name of my array and make it equal to new array in the memory. It's not possible. But when I say bracket 1 or bracket 2 or push, it's the same array in the memory. I'm just modifying the data inside it. But when I reassign the array and that's the name of my array, give it a new array, I'm creating, as you can see, a new array in the memory, and I'm not allowed to do that with const. With let, yes, but with const, no. Is the idea clear? Yes or no? For everyone? Good. We have comparing, which is quite interesting. Let me open it in GSTutor, actually. It will be again better. Now, we've seen the strict equality and non-strict equality, right? To compare two primitive data type. Now we will see something similar with array 1 and array 2. So let's notice to this example. So if I click here, now here it's create a variable, as you can see, it's create my array in the heap, as you can see. And I have my reference, which is called not the same, blah, blah. But now if I click again, it create a new reference to my array in the stack and just create second array. Now, if I try to compare using strict equality both array, will it give me true or false, and why?
False,
Why?
because the reference is different, even if the value is.
But
same.
as you can see, I have the same array 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3.
But it's not strictly equivalent, no?
Yeah, you are absolutely correct. But why?
Because the reference is different.
Because there are two different array in the memory. Only if they are the same array, so if two variable, two pointer indicates the same array, only then they are strictly equal. But if they are two different array, even if the value inside is the same, it doesn't matter. That's what it will never be strictly equal. Do you understand me? So here, because I have two different array, even if they have the same value, the reference type is not like primitive type again. Here, yes, I have two array with the same value. As you can see, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, but are both the same array? No, there are two different arrays in the memory, as you can see. And because there are two different arrays in the memory, they will never, if I try to compare them using strict equality, equal, it will give me false. Is the idea clear? Yes or no? Even with two equal, I don't think it will work, but I will try it. Let's see. Because they are not the same. Two equal, actually, I don't think it will work with the reference type, because when you try to compare the reference type, what you need to do, you need to compare this value with this value, this value, this value, this value with this value. And that's what we call deep equality. That means we are comparing the item inside the array, but not the array itself. But now we will check it, Agnieszka. So let's click next. And as you can see, it's giving me false. Why it give me false? Because simply they are not the same array, as you can see in the memory. And in here, clicky. Do I have more code? Yes. Now, as you can see here, I'm saying also array 1, it's equal to array 1. So I here, both array here, it will indicate, as you can see. So if I go, now I'm creating also array 1. As you can see, array 1 and also array 1, both of them point to the same array. So we have one array in the memory. And if I try to compare the strict equality with also array 1 and array 1, it will give me true or false. And why? True. Why? Because they are the same array in the memory. Click, and voila. So I have, as you can see now, I have array 1 and I have array 2. Does array 1 strictly equal to array 2? Does array 1 strictly equal to array 2? No, they are not the same array, even they are not the same item. So it should give me false. And voila. Is the idea clear? So again, I'll try to explain it in very simple way. Now, if I try to compare, so let's try to log this one. if I try to compare array 1, or array 1 strictly equal to array 2, of course, it will give me true. Why? Because both of them, they will be indicate or point to the same array in the memory. But if I came here and I say const array 3, it's equal to, let's say, a different value here, 1, 2, 3, 5, and say const array 4, it's also equal to the same value. And now if I try to compare these two array, of course, it will give me false. Why? Because there are two different array in the memory. And let's make it actually two equal to see if that will work or not. I don't think it will work. It will be the same, but let's try it. Clicky. And let's open it in GStutor again. Clicky. Okay, but it should be two equality. Let's read. Yeah, but that's not what I am trying to open. I need to open my stuff, not you. Okay. Let's inspect. Let's open in GStutor. Yep. So if I try to go now, clicky, and I try to do that, and as you can see, array 1 and array 2 is giving me true. And if I try to do the same for array 3 and array 4, it's giving me false as well. So it doesn't matter if it's two equality, so comparison or strict comparison, it doesn't matter. Unless they are the same array in the memory, they will never be equal. Is the idea clear? There's difference between primitive, if you see primitive as different, and the reference, as you can see, they are totally different. If they are not the same array or the same object in the memory, they will never be strictly equal. Is it quite clear? Perfect. Okay, what's the other example here? Deep comparison. So what the hell is deep comparison? So deep comparison, because I know what the hell is going on, I console.assert. So if I have console.assert, I cannot open it with GStutor. So let me open it. Let me open my console here. So as you can see, I have array 1 and I have array 2. If I try to compare array 1 with array 2, is it give me true or false, and why? False. Why? Because there are two different array in the memory. But what I can do, I can make what we call a deep comparison. So what is a deep comparison? The deep comparison means I will compare the first item in my array 1 with the first item with array 2. The second item with the second item, the third item with the third item, the fourth item with the fourth item. And if all of them are the same, then I will say both array are deeply equal, or both objects are deeply equal. Did you get the idea? That's what we call deep comparison. Deep comparison, we are comparing the item of the array or the item of an object. That work only when reference type with arrays and object. So as you can see, what I'm doing here, I'm saying array 1 bracket 0 is the first item is strictly equal to array 2 bracket 0, which is the first item, the second item, and all of them should be not one of them. You need to say and. So all of them should be the same. Array 1, array 2. So we have taken the first index of both, the second index, the third index, all of them. And what do you think the result will be? Will it be true or false? And why? False. Why? Because simply, as you can see, the second value here, yes, it is a number, but this one is strings. They have the same value, but they do not have the same data type. And I'm using actually strict comparison. So if I say bracket 0, it will give me a primitive data type, which will be 4. Okay. And if I hit run, and of course, it will give me false. As you can see, assertion failed, it will just give me false. Is the idea clear? Of course, if I want to make it true, all I have to do just remove this one and remove this one, and should give me true. Clicky, and now it will pass the assertion. As you can see, I don't have any error. Is the idea clear? Perfect. Did you understand the deep comparison?
Any method?
Sorry, Gold King?
Any method?
Is there any deep
any method. Compare, if I want to compare, 100, string and 100. Is there any method for it? I know it's, this mode is 100, but.
Let me compare it between those items.
So with primitive data type, we will use strict equality. We don't have any operator to do that in JavaScript. We don't have built-in function. Either you're gonna use comparison, which is 2 equal, or 3 equal, strict equality. Or not equal, which is exclamation mark equal, exclamation mark 2, with primitive data. Now with reference data type, what you can do, you also can use the same idea, 3 equality or 2 equality is the same. And of course, if you're trying to compare 2 arrays, they will never be strictly equal if there are 2 arrays in the memory. But what you can do, you can check if they are deeply equal or not. We have a function we created to check if 2 arrays are deeply equal or not. Deeply equal. So it will take the first item from the first array, the first item from the second array, and compare them. So for the second and third and fourth. But we don't have built-in method in JavaScript to do so. Okay.
So I don't get the point because in the real life, why we are comparing string with number? Because we use always the data. And it's 100 is always 100. Why string or being number?
At some time, for example, when you data coming from the server, sometimes the money it will be not form of number. It depends really on the developer. Sometimes they make it as a string. So it doesn't matter, huh? Your data could be string, could be the data coming from the server. Sometimes are strings, sometimes are numbers, sometimes are Boolean. You never know. You guess upon. Yeah, not all the time there will be numbers. No. Sometimes we have money when we dealing with money. What the user takes is a form of string. Is the idea clear? Good. Okay. Did you understand the deep comparison? And here I think there is already, as you can see, a function at the bottom. You don't have to understand this function. You need to ignore this function. All you have to do, just use it. So this function here is already written for you. That's what you call deep comparison. And you need to pass the two arrays, actual and the expected. And here what will do for you. Okay. I think that should be clear if I'm not mistaken. Side effect. So can anyone tell me what is the side effect? Can anyone tell me what is the side effect? What is side effect? What is side effect? Yeah. Can anyone tell me what is side effect? Daria, what is side effect? What is side effect? It related to passing by reference. So what is side effect? Okay. Let's create a function. Let's create a function const. Can you give me any name? Any name. My function is x, for example. My function here, it's an arrow function, and it takes a parameter here, and this parameter is array. I will name it ARR, and by default, it's equal to an empty array. Now, this function, when it take my ARR, let's say, is that ARR? Yes. Array dot push, and I'm pushing number 6, for example, to this array, and then I will return my array. Should be simple, right? So what this function is doing, it take an array as a parameter, and then it takes the array, as you can see, it add number 6 at the end, and then it return me my array. That's nice, that's fine. Let's use our function. So I will use x. I will call the function, and here I'm passing 1, 2, 3, 4. And the question here is, now I pass this array. That's my array here. When I pass it to the function, will my array will change or stay the same? This array here I'm passing. If I pass it to this function, will it change or not?
Change.
It will change. Why? Because I'm adding a number to it. Yes. So if I pass my array here, of course it will change. Why? It stays the same array in the memory, but one item it will be added here. So my array does not be exactly the same. And sometimes we are not aware of that. So what do I mean by that? Well, that's my array 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I pass it to this function. And after I execute this function, now I am expecting, notice, I am expecting my array to be 1, 2, 3, 4. But actually my array is comma 6. And that's what we call side effect. So when I look at my array here, I say, oh yeah, my array is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 4 only, like that. So I see my array is this one. But when I pass it to the function, I do something to the array, it will change. And when it will change, when it returns, it will give me a different array. It will be 1, 2, 3, 4, and 6. And sometimes when I'm not aware of this change, I'm not aware of side effect, I will expect that, okay, I have 1, 2, 3, 4. I will work on that. And after that, maybe I will get a bug. Why? Because I was expecting to put 4 items. And here, indeed, it's actually not 4, it's 6. Because when I pass my data, my reference data type, object or array to a function, when it change it, modify it, add item, remove item, change something, that's what we call side. Is the idea clear? To make it even more simple, let me show you. To make it even more simple. Yeah. So my function here, let's say I have my array here. So I will name it const arr1. And my array here is 1, 2, and 3. That's my array. Now I will call my function x, and I will pass my array, which is arr1. Now, of course, when I execute, remember the name of my function is x. So when I execute this function, I'm looking at my array, it's 1, 2, 3. But in reality, after I execute this function, after this line, my array will change. Why? Because I pass it as a parameter to this function, and this function modify my array. And when here I compare some, okay, my array, I'm looking here, I'm here at this point, and I'm looking here, okay, I have 1, 2, 3, my array. But in reality, it's not correct at this point. It will be 1, 2, 3, 6. Is the idea clear? So that's simply side effect. So side effect, that means some function is gonna change my reference data, which is, it will be array or object, it will change it. And I'm not aware of that. So the array I am passing to this function, it will change. And that's what you call side effect. Is the idea clear? Is side effect clear? Yes or no? Yes? How can we prevent side effect? How can I, if I don't want to have, sometime side effect, it's a good idea, because when I want to, for example, I have user, after that I delete user, I don't want any user in my array anymore. I will remove it. That's good. That's what I want to. But sometimes I don't want side effect. I want to prevent side effect. How can I prevent side effect? How can I prevent side effect? You don't need to be a programmer, just guess. How can I prevent side effect?
I don't push.
Create a new?
No, I don't push. For example.
Yeah, but I need to push because I need to excuse this function. I have no choice. For example, if my function here adding a new user, and I have a new user, I say I don't want to push a new user, it doesn't work this way. X, what the hell? Why is not working? So how can I prevent side effect? Then Yando, not you.
I create a new array.
Good, good. That's more logic. I can create a new array, which is good. What's the name was? ARR. I'm passing my array, ARR1. So what I can do to prevent that? Well, it's quite simple. I can create a copy of my array here. What do I mean by that? So I can take this array and make a new array of it, make a copy of it in new array, And if I modify this array, it will not affect my original array. That's one solution.
How can you make a copy?
How can we copy an array? Exactly. So that's a question. How can I copy an array? How can I make a copy of this array? We have two techniques. We have shallow copy and we have deep copy. Okay, we have two type of copy. If I want to try to copy array or object, there is two techniques. Either shallow copy. You know what's shallow, right? So we have either deep copy or shallow copy. Yeah. There's many ways I can use a loop for that. Can I use loop? I can loop through this array, for example. That's my array, right? Because I'm calling the function and passing it. That will be my array. I can loop through array 1. Okay, for each. I can create a new array, just say, for example, const. I can just say const new ARR. It's equal to empty array. And now I can loop through this one using for each. And each time I can push it to the new array. And now I created a new array.
Or you can create a function and map already this is an existing array and return it to a new array.
It is another solution, but there is simpler solution. Does anyone heard of spread operator? Anyone heard of a spread operator? Does anyone heard of a spread operator? No? That's that. So what spread operator is doing is going to create a shallow copy from my array or my object. It works with only with arrays and objects. So what the hell is spread operator? Spread operator simply, let me do it here. So let's say that's my array, and now I want to create a copy of this array. I can just say, for example, const array 3, it's equal to, and in here I can just say create my array like that. Voila. Dot, 3 dot, and the name of array 1. ARR1. So the syntax is 3 dot. When I say dot, it will go inside array 1 and it will take all the value here and it will put it inside this array. And of course, that's a new array in the memory. That's what we call spread operator. Spread operator work with object and arrays. That's to create a shallow copy. There is difference between shallow copy and deep copy. I will explain it maybe tomorrow because I've already explained a lot today. But let me show you an example. What do I mean? So let's create our function now and try to do it now. Clicky. Clicky. So what was the name of my array? It was ARR, right? ARR1, it was equal to 1, 2, 3. For example, let's say like that. And now I will create a function const. What was my name of my function? It was X. Bad naming, I know. But anyway, my function take an array as a default value here. It will be just an empty array if I pass nothing. And then what's going to do? It will going to push. So I can just return like that. Array ARR dot push. And I can push the number 6, as you can see. I can push and then return, or I can just do it this way. All of them is the same line. Now, if I try to call my function with ARR1, and here I log ARR1, like that. Of course, after calling the function, it will change. And here I'm going to log it before I call the function. Okay, let's go to our editor and see what's going on here. So let's click. Let's go to our testing main, and let's try to open it in GStutor. So let's open in GStutor.
You missed it. You missed it. Go back to option.
I missed it. Yeah, you're right. Sorry for that. Hi, good morning.
Let me introduce you
Good morning.
to Mathilde.
Hello.
Samia is our coach.
Nice to meet you.
you.
How are you?
Bye.
She comes from the Netherlands. She's from the recruitment company Templeton.
Yes.
Okay. So she's here for 1 day. So visiting us as well.
Nice meeting you.
She will be helping us on the recruitment process for students.
Nice. Cool.
Yeah.
You good?
She's joining as a volunteer as well.
Great.
So
You speak Dutch, of course.
No, I'm French originally. I live in the Netherlands, so I speak French.
That's cool.
And we can see that we have lots of female students. So yeah.
Bye. Thank you for interrupting my class. When I'm focusing in something and someone interrupt me now. Okay, let's go back to our work. So let's click on here. Of course, now it will create my ARR array one in the memory. And if I log it, it will just give me 1, 2, 3, as you can see. But now when I create my function and I call my function, as you can see, my array will change. So it's 1, 2, 3, 6, as you can see. And now if I log array ARR1, as you can see, it has been changed. And that's what we call side effect simply. So how can we prevent side effect? Well, it's quite actually simple. How? Well, what I can do here, as I told you, I can create a new array. So I can just say const new ARR, it's equal to, and because it's an array, I will use this one and say dot, 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 ARR. And that's what we call spread operator. And what spread operator is going to do now, it will just copy all the item inside my array. And now like that, when I pass my array here, it will never be changed. What it will be changed here, it will be in this new array. So let's go and see and notice if that changed or not. Refresh. Yeah. No, it didn't. That's sad. Now it does. Just give me a second, guys. Let me finish this one and I'll be with you. Okay, let's open it in GStutor again. Just relax, relax, relax a little bit. Okay, let's click. I'm logging my function here. I'm sorry, I'm logging my array. It's give me 1, 2, 3. And now when I call my function, of course, I am passing this array 1, 1. It will create a new copy in the array. It will modify. So it will create a new array, as you can see, 1, 2, 3. It will modify this copy, as you can see. And now if I log my original array 1, 2, 3, it did not change. So here there is no side effect. Zero side effect.
And the const is related one to another.
How?
How do we know that const array 1 and const x with new array, they are related one to another? How do you check them?
How could we know that our function changing our data? Our array?
No, but for me, it looks like it's separate two array. It's not linked one to another. It's two separate arrays.
Yeah, no, but that's what I wanted. I want to create a new array because the original array, I don't want to change it.
Shouldn't be one. Yeah, but
Why should it be
array
one?
1, but it's here array. If you make a copy of this array, so array 1, so dot 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 array 1.
That's my function. My function takes this parameter, ARR. So I need to deal with ARR. When I call it and I pass ARR, it will be at ARR here. So that's the function declaration. I'm just saying I'm passing the array, and what I want to take a copy of this array, and here I'm calling it and I'm passing it.
How about this array is the 1, 2, 3?
How?
This array is 1, 2, 3. So
This array is not 1, 2, 3. This array here, I'm logging this my array before and after calling the function, and they are the same. The new array is not. Let me log it. Okay. What was your question?
yeah, because you logged logged 2 times array 1, and here is array 1.
I know before the function and after the function, just to show you that this function it will not take my.
So when the function change my array, that's what we call side effect. Like what I want that this function not change my array. That's what I'm trying to show. You understand my point?
Yeah, but why, it will change because it's not a projected function.
Because it will not change because here in my function, I'm making, whenever I pass any array, I make a copy of it, and then I make a new array.
But how you going to make it up?
Just using this operator, dot.
Yeah, but we use, R, without R1, it's not,
Okay, it's fine, it's fine. I feel like I'm going to get some disease. Guys, this is my array. I don't care about this array, okay? And now I want to create a function. What this function is doing, it will take array as a parameter, and I want to make a copy of this array, whatever the array I am passing, and then I want to return a new array, okay? I want to prevent side effect. So let's say const, we name it x trust, our function, it was x, right? And here my function, it will take an array as a parameter, right? I just name it ARR. The default value, it will be empty string if the user did not pass anything. And here, what I need to do here, I need to create a copy from this parameter. So to create this one, I can name it new ARR. And here I will just say bracket, and that's what we call spread operator. So what the spread operator is doing, it will take whatever parameter here I am passing, it will make a new copy of it in the memory, and then it will, what it's going to do here, it will push number 6, and then it will return me this number 6 I want, and then it will return me this new array, return new array. Touch.
array with one number.
I'm sorry.
So if we will, when we will console new array, it will have only one six, one value.
So the new array here, it will have the same item as array ARR1.
When it comes to local array,
It's just creating, wait, I'll debug it now. I'll debug it, don't worry, I'll debug it. So it will be easier for you. X, ARR1, and let's debug it and see. Let me refresh. So that's function declaration. Okay, a function declaration means that, stay with me, Daria, stay with me. Daria, stay with me. A function declaration mean I'm saying, okay, this is function. This is my function here. It will take an array as a parameter. And then I want to create a new copy of this array. I'm creating a new array in the memory called new ARR. Then I'm pushing the number to this new ARR, and then I'm returning it. Now here, when I call this one, it will return me a new array. Const, I can name it here, const new array. It's equal to this one, and now I can log it if I want to. Log new array. And I can also log my array if I want to here, which is ARR1, which will never change. But anyway, let's debug it. Let's save the changes and debug it. Let's debug and see what's going on here. Notice the memory here. Click. Of course, now it create my array, which is ARR1, 1, 2, 3 in the heap here. That's fine. Now let's go to function. What it's going to do, he will just create another variable x in the memory here in the heap, and it will assign the value of this function. So nothing will happen here. Click. And now here, when I call my function, I'm passing ARR1, as you can see. So notice here what will happen. Click. And now if I hover over ARR1, it will be my array what I'm passing, 1, 2, 3. Okay, now what should I do here? New ARR, what it will be here? So let's click on new RR. And as you can see, new RR is 1, 2, 3. And my function here, or my array RR1, is another value. Yes, they have the same value, but they are different array in the memory. So I created a new copy, a new array. And now for this new array here, now I will push the number and it will not affect my original array. So if I click now here, as you can see, the new array I created, it's at number 6. And now it will return it, but it not affect my array here, which is called RR1, which is 1, 2, 3. And that's what we call prevent side effect, as you can see. Clear? What's the confusion, Dario?
Line number 16, you called one function inside another. Can you comment it somehow?
Which one?
So line 16, in this function, you call the function, but inside this function, you put variables.
Now, here's the function here in my function say, we pass one array and here
But you can take this array here as a parameter. So array 1, you can use here as a parameter.
That's function declaration. That's here. I'm just telling, okay, I have this function, it will take an array, after that it will make a new copy. That's just function declaration here. I'm just saying that is the function. What my function will, it will take an array, if the user pass nothing, it will be an empty array. Then I want to create a new array from it. And it will take all the items from my array here, and then it will push number 6, it will return me this new array. Okay? And now here, when I execute the function x, when I execute it, I need to pass a parameter or argument. Where is the argument? That's it. You understand?
Okay, so you use array 1 as argument.
Yes,
when you call
because I am calling now. I'm calling here. This is my function. Here in this part, that's what we call function declaration. I'm just telling JavaScript. My function, its name is x. It will take an array as parameter, and then when if there's nothing passed, I want to make an empty array. Then I want to create a new array. I want to push number 6. Then I want to return the new array. Now here, when I call my function, I need to pass an array because I'm telling it. So here I'm calling my function. I need to pass the array.
Okay, I would put it for me. Instead of this parameter, you can and here you can assign not to the array. Yes, so but here and
Okay, let me explain something again. Let's go here. Let me remove this array. Let me remove everything. Guys, when it comes to function, we have two parts first at a time. We have function declaration. I need to tell JavaScript that this is a function. I need to tell JavaScript that my function takes this parameter, this parameter, this parameter. And then I need to tell JavaScript what's in my function, what I need to do. So let's create a function here. So was that what you call function declaration? Function declaration. I'm not calling the function, I'm just declaring the function. So I can just say const my func here, I will just name it func instead of x. It's equal. And here I'm telling my array that, okay, I'm sorry, I'm telling my function that the parameter I will pass, it will be an array. If no one pass anything, the default value, it will be an empty array. Voila. Now here, if I say const new array, it's equal to empty array like that. That's what you're saying, right? Yes, it's okay. That's what you're saying. And after that, I need to push. So I can just say const, I'm sorry, new array dot push 6, for example. Push 6. And then after that, I need to return it, right? Return new array. And now here, of course, I'm declaring my function. Now I need to use my function, right? So let's use my function here. I will just say like that. And here I need to pass an array, right? Because I'm telling it I need to pass an array. So I need to pass an array. So let's pass here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 like that, and see what will happen inside this function. Of course, now this function return a new array. So let's see what the new array will be. Const new array. That's what we look for. So now what I am expecting, if I do this way, what I am expecting, what I want to do here, I want this array I am passing to not change at all, stay as it is. And I want the new array to have all these items, or everything. And also I want to add 6, right? That's what I want to. Yes, Daria? So let's see if that's the case or not. So let's log new array, but the new array actually it will only give me 6.
No, because before we have array one with
Okay, let's do array 1. Const array 1. Voila, that's what you are saying. And here I need to pass array 1, right? Sorry? Ah, yeah. You're right. Like that. And now if I log a new array, it should give me 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, right? So let's see if that will work or not. Click. Let's run our code. And it's only give me 6. Why? I'm telling you why. Why? Because simply here you are declaring an empty array. I don't want the empty array. You are forgetting something important. This is a parameter. This one here is not always empty array. That will be empty array only if the user pass nothing. But if I pass this array, it will have item. And here I'm just saying it's equal to empty array. So I'm not taking the item from my parameter here or my argument. Now it's an empty array by default. But if I pass this array, it's not an empty array. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And you are not copying them here. But if I say this way, if I copy everything in ARR, and now I go to my log, refresh, and run, and voila. Yes? You did not get it. Okay. No, it's okay. This one, when I say ARR, it's equal to an empty array. It doesn't mean it will be equal to empty array. If I pass nothing, if I did not pass anything to my function, yes, now yours, it will work now. It will work if I pass nothing, because that's a default value. But if I pass any value other array, like ARR1, which is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, ARR here, it will not be empty array. No, this value, it will override this value. You get my point? Is this one like that? Yes, I can. That's what we call the default parameter. So if I do it, will work. Absolutely. Voila. So the default parameter here, it will only be applied, this one, it will only be applied when I am passing nothing to my function like that. When I pass nothing to my function, then my array, it will be an empty array. And now if I go log, it will give me 6 indeed, and you are right. Voila. This one here, that's what we call default parameter. That means if I am passing nothing, then array, it will be an empty. Because why I need this one? Because if I pass nothing, it will be, I will passing undefined. And if I try to push something, the undefined dot push, it will give me an error. You got my point? But we did the same before with string. So const reverse string, reverse string, it's equal to str, and we do that, and here str is equal to empty string, but it will not be empty string. I can call my function with, if I call my function with nothing, then it will be empty string with nothing. See, it will be empty string. But if I add another value like hello, It will not be empty strings. This value here, it will override this one, and the value of str, it will be hello.
One last question. Can we use array one not as an argument, but as a parameter?
You can, if you want, you can. No, you cannot. No. Now I get your point. No. Okay, and you mean now if I make it ARR1 like that, just like that, pass ARR like that. And here array1 like that. No, you can use it, but by the way, it will not take this one. It will not take this one, the ARR1, because here ARR1, it will be a new variable. So ARR1 is already declared, so it will give you an error actually. You can, because here I'm just telling that what my function is doing. And if I want to do something, I need to call my function and pass whatever I want to. Oh, thanks God, finally. You still, a lot of you confused between function declaration and function calling the function. Function declaration is just, I'm telling JavaScript, this is my function. I will receive one parameter or two parameter, and whatever the parameter, you can name them whatever you want to. And then after that, what calculation I'm doing, and that's it. But when you want to perform something, you need to call the function and pass whatever you want to. So it's different part. Okay. Any other question here? I think not. It will be clear if you do few example more, don't worry. Util function side effect. We've seen all of that. This example. No, example. We've seen all of that. Side effect, we've seen this example. Passing array as an argument, side effect, avoid side effect. So here it will tell you how to avoid side effect. So as you can see, to avoid side effect, what they are doing, they are creating a new array and adding it to an empty, just as the first way we discussed, creating a new array and then looping through the old array and then pushing all the items to the new array and then adding the new value. So that's one technique to prevent side effect. Either you can create a new array and loop through the old array and push all the value, or you can use the spread operator, which is much easier. So that should be clear, I think. Testing side effect. So of course you can test side effect as well. To test side effect here, for example, I have argument table, chair, sofa. That's my original argument here. And when I pass it here to this function, which say no side effect, remember I'm taking the new, I'm creating a new array here. I'm not adding the old array. So I'm creating a new array and then I'm modifying. I should not have any side effect. And here we are just say if there's side effect or not. So if there is no side effect, my array stays the same exactly. If there is side effect, it would not stay the same because some value it will be added or removed. That should be simple as well. Sneaky array method. So let's just ignore this one. Testing side effect. Deep comparison, we discussed it. Side effect and no side effect. Did you understand side effect now? So if you have an array and you pass this array to a function, if the function changed your array, that means there is a side effect. But if you want to prevent that, now sometimes that's we want, that doesn't mean side effect is bad. No. Side effect, sometimes we want that. We want the change in our array. Imagine this way. If I have array of users, all the current users, const users, and I have user 1, user 2, user 3, and I have a function which will add a new user to this array. So I want side effect in this example. Why? Because when I add a new user, I want it to be added to this array as well, right? So in this case, side effect is what I want to. But sometimes I don't want side effect. So when I pass my array or object, both of them, I don't want side effect. And to prevent side effect, either I'm going to copy the array, either I'm going to copy it shallow copy or deep copy. Just make a copy of it. It will be a new array in the memory. So if I modify the copy, I will not modify the original array. And that's what we call prevent side effect. To create a copy from the array, we have two methods, either shallow copy using the spread operator, or you can create a new array and loop through item and push them to the new array. You can do that. We can also create a deep copy. A deep copy means, should I explain it now, or that's enough information?
The other, right?
Yeah, okay, tomorrow I'm gonna explain the difference between deep copy and shallow copy, and I'm gonna repeat everything again. But guys, you have a serious problem with function. You need to understand that function declaration is something, I'm just telling this is a function. And calling the function is something different. They're totally different. Here, I'm just telling this is my function. I can pass X parameter, Y, whatever I want to. But when I call the function here, I need to pass whatever. For example, here, I'm saying here in this function, I'm gonna pass, this is my function. When I call this function and I'm gonna pass an array. And if the user did not pass an array, I want you to pass an empty array by default. So that's what's called default parameter. And here, when I call the function, which is dynamic X, I am passing my array, 1, 2, 3, I'm passing an array. But if I did not pass an array, it will give it this value, which is an empty array. And why default parameter here is important? Because what I'm doing here, I'm saying array dot push. If I did not make this one default parameter, so if I'm passing nothing, it will be, I'm passing, what value I will pass if I pass nothing? Undefined. And if I say undefined dot push, it will give me an error because the push method does not exist on undefined. That's the reason why I give a default parameter. Otherwise, I will have a problem in my function. Now, the push method does exist on array. But if I did not make it this way and I did not pass an array, it will pass undefined. And if I say undefined dot push, it will give me an error because push does not exist on undefined. Or if I pass a string even, push does not exist on the string or number. That's the reason is when I add a default parameter like that, if the user pass nothing, it will just make it an empty array. An empty array is an array, so I can push whatever I want. Clear? Let's stop today here. I have a headache. That's enough information. And tomorrow I'm going to explain deep copy and shallow copy.